All right, let's talk about making assignments. So if we go to create a new assignment, we're not going to create it here in the assignments whenever we're making it. We want to organize things. So go to your drive, go to the folder you're dealing with. I'm dealing with Geometry 2021. So I'm going to create a new slide. There we go. This is Google. First thing I'm going to do is name it. What am I going to name it? I have no idea. Test slide 42. And now, whenever you're dealing with slides, these are in the way. You don't want these. Move them out of the way. Get rid of them. So I'm going to select, highlight. That's one way to do it. You can hit the backspace button there. Another option, click in the white space up here or down here. Control A and backspace. Themes, forget it. Exit out of there. Now, what kind of thing are we going to make today? Let's make a graphing assignment. So, if we want a slide, we want to have a part that students can edit and a part that the students cannot edit. So they cannot edit a background. Now, we don't really have the ability just to make a background from here. What we need to do is make a drawing for the background. New drawing. Okay. Now for my drawings, I always name them the same thing, problem. Reason, I don't care what this is called at all, and it's gonna have like numbers after it every time we download it. So I named it problem because it's the problem I'm working on. So I'm gonna go back here so you can see I have a drawing and a slide. Drawing, slide. Notice how my screen is nice and wide. I like that. If you don't, change it. Go to File, Page Setup. It's a wide screen. You could put a standard screen. Let's see what that looks like. It makes it more squarish, I guess. You could also make a custom screen. I don't know what that's going to do. Nothing, okay. So I could do 8.5 by 11 if I wanted to. And it's a normal size piece of paper, scaled down. However you want to make it, like if you need, for some reason you want your background at the top and whatever you're dealing with below it, make a tall one. I usually just stick with a widescreen, 16 by 9. I have my background on the left and anything that you need to manipulate over here on the right. That's how I like it. It's up to you. However, you have to know what that setup is. I use 16 by 9, so I need to go to my drawing and change my page setup to 16 by 9. It doesn't matter what they are, what your slides are, your drawing has to match. They can be whatever you want, but they have to match. So now, I'm going to make a graph, so I probably need some graph paper. So I'm going to click this little image icon. I don't have one handy, so I'm going to search the web. Let's try that. I don't usually use this. 10 by 10 grid. I could insert it there, and I can resize it. Look at those red lines. That means you're lined up with the edges. You want to line up with the edges. And if I do this, then it's all nice. It's going to take up the whole screen right there. If I go outside of it, though, this square at the bottom is going to get cut off. So do not go below that line. It does kind of block to that thing. I actually don't like this grid, so I'm going to delete it. What I usually do is I go to Google and I search for images. 10 by 10 grid. And I go to images. And now I have a nice selection to choose from. There's some red ones if I want. I'm just going to find something. Okay. Somebody made a watermelon. Yeah. I'm going to actually click on it, make it a little bit bigger and clearer. Then I'm going to copy that image. I come in here, Control V, pastes that image. And I'm actually going to crop it. See all this white stuff? I don't need that. I also don't want Y and X on there. I don't need that. Kids know that. So I'm going to use my cropping tool, same standard cropping tool as anything else. And I'm going to crop it to where it's just above the 10s. Same thing on this corner. Make sure I keep that negative sign. Click out of it. Yeah, it looks decent for me. So now I'm going to move it into position. Make it a little bigger. I usually don't like to take up the whole screen, so I usually make it about, yeah, that's good. Give a good working space here. Make it bigger if you want to. Again, just don't extend it past this bottom line. That's as big as I can get it. It's a little too big for me, but whatever. In fact, usually I put it down here and I put some instructions up top. So to do that, I click the text box and I just click. You could make the size of the text box if you want to, but I usually don't know what I'm going to say. So I just click and type and then I change text box size. Graph the following, let's see, I guess we'll make a linear equation. And give the pertinent, no idea if I spelled that right, information. I can tell you now I did not spell that right. Pertinent. Hey, pertinent. And I want this in one line. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Now the text box size doesn't matter as long as your text is how you want to see it. They're not going to see the box itself. Now I said the pertinent information, so I want the slope. So m equals intercepts. This way. Slopes, intercepts, and I want to fill it in, so I might put a line. There's a line tool here, or a text box. I might put a box. I like boxes. Slope. They type in this box. I don't want it filled in with color, so I'm going to change that. Just make it white or whatever. Clear even, solid, transparent, doesn't matter. These squares will not appear, so this square checkerboard pattern is not going to be there. Slope. Yeah, I do want a black line, and I want it thicker. So that's going to be my answer box. I'm going to make it bigger. Yeah. I'm going to copy and paste it. I want one for my intercepts too. This is not actually how I do it, but if you wanted to, you could. Notice the red line here. That red line aligns your objects. So the center, if you look at it, is now aligned with the bottom of the text box. So that's how they align them. And if we want to, we could align the two text boxes with the center of each other. So let me actually get some more space in here. And I'll just make it a bigger box, whatever, doesn't matter. So this is the stuff I don't want to manipulate here. Everything you make on your background is going to be non-editable. So let's make the equation. Y equals 3x minus 2. Just made that up. I might want to put it over here on top of the graph, whatever. On top of the Cartesian plane, doesn't matter to me. So you can play around with it. You can move things around. You're like, okay, I want this a little bit closer. Oh, highlighted too much stuff. No, still too much stuff. Oh yeah, I made that giant text box, didn't I? So that's one reason it could be handy to make a small text box so you don't grab it accidentally. Oops. That should be good. I highlighted all that stuff, and I can drag it into position. Oh, let's drag it and align it there. So there we go. Good enough. Now, we need to download this background. So I'm going to go to File, Download, and we want to make it cheap, PNG. This is PNG. And it's going to download wherever you have it defaulted to download to. Not sure where I have it defaulted to download to. That could be a problem. So now we're going to go back to our slides, go to background, and I'm going to choose image. Browse. Yeah. Give me a second, let me find this thing. Okay, I've never found it. It's in my downloads folder. So let's navigate there. Oh, there it is. Click date modify, that way it pops up top. Problem. So you might want to save it to your desktop or something, make it easier. And done. Now if you try and edit any of this, you can't. It's stuck. But let's say you do want the students to have something to manipulate. Let's say you want to give them some points to plot. So I'm going to make a circle. And again, I'm going to hold shift so it makes it a circle. That seems good. Let's make it a red dot. And if you want to, you can have it with a black outline or something. Thick black outline. Okay, that made it pretty much a black dot. Or whatever, you can play around with it, however you want to make it look. So that's my dot. I want them to all be the same. So let's say I want them to have 3 points. Command C copies, Command V pastes. Control for you Windows people. Then I can move it around. This is a good spot for it. So notice I have them lined up. Since I have that red line, it's lining up with the center. And now if I look here, those 2 blue bars mean that's evenly spaced between each other. So I'm going to keep it right there. And now I can move them around. So students would plot, okay, -2 is my y-intercept, I'm going to stick that right here. So I definitely want bigger dots for this graph. And then you can click on it, move it around with the arrow key. Shift arrow key moves it even smaller increments. So the kids would do that, plot their points. 3 is my slope, so I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 1, somewhere right there. 1, 2, 3, right 1, somewhere right there. So this is me working it like a kid would. So now I need to draw the line. So I'm going to use my line tool. And it's going to connect those dots, just like that. Is it perfect? No. Does it have to be perfect? No. Now let's say it was a parabola or something, then you need to use a curve tool. Let's put these back. I'm hitting Command or Control Z to undo things. So that's back how I wanted it. They also have this scribble option. So let's say you need to make a parabola or some other non-straight line thing. You could do it like this with the scribble tool. And I'm just using my finger on my touchpad. It's not too terrible once you get used to it. The kids are going to be way better at it than us, so it'll be all right. Now they can enter the information. Slope m equals 3. Intercepts. That would be 0, -2. And then they plug in 0 for y, that would be 2/3. 2/3, comma 0. That's what auto-corrected that. Math people, handy add-on is called Hypatia. Where is... there we go. So Hypatia, yeah, I already did this a long time ago, but for some reason not working. Hypatia lets you put equations in here. Chemistry might be useful for you too. It's loading, it's thinking, might eventually get there. Just take a nap while I wait. Oh, there we go. So let's look at these tools we got. So here's a fraction, 2, oh no, 2/3, that's what I needed. Insert. And let me X this out and see what happens. So I have 2/3 here now as an image, and I could just put in there. I'd probably do the whole ordered pair if I were doing this. But you can use Hypatia to type nice fractions. Otherwise, just use the slash. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have a bunch of the same background you want set up, then you could just copy, or even better, let's say you wanted the dots in the same place. You might have apples. I don't know what you're going to use it for, but let's say you needed the exact same thing. For some reason, you need an arrow over here like this. Yeah, why not? So let's say you need this arrow and these 3 dots on every single page. Control A, Control C. You're going to add a new slide. So let me show you that again. Click slide, new slide, or Control M. First thing you're going to do, Control A and delete. I have those things copied, Control V, paste. Now I have my arrow and my dots, and I can put a background on it. Not an image, sorry. Click out of there, background. Choose image, browse. This time I'm gonna go to my desktop, and I have no idea what I'm gonna find. Well, let's just say we do that again. So if we need another problem, what we say, oh hey, let's do -2x minus 2. Okay, I need the same thing, I just changed that one little piece. File, download, PNG, and it's done. See how it has this parentheses 1, because it's the same name as that. So it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after it. So choose image, browse, and it's right here on top. So once you find your downloads folder and have it arranged by date, it'll just be the top thing. And now it has a different problem, and it still has my arrow I can move around if I need to move around, and my dots. So that's how you make a Google Slides assignment. So then I'd go to my classwork, graphing is what I'm going to title it. I'm going to add from my Google Drive, and luckily I just made it. So it's going to be in my recents right here, test slide 42, insert. Make sure you make a copy for each student, because if you don't, boom, you have to restart the whole dang thing. And assign. I'm not going to assign it because why bother? That's about it for a Google Slides assignment. Again, with the background, just make sure that your drawing and your slides have the same page set up, the same size. And then you can follow these lines. If you didn't have the same size, then your squares might be rectangles instead of squares. I think that's it for Google Slides assignment. Let's see what else. Quiz assignment. Okay, we can do that. I'm in a doc. Everybody knows it's a doc. You type it in. If you need to write an essay, use a Google Doc. If you need something more editable, use a Google Slide. If you need something that they submit once for a grade, you want to use a form, a Google quiz. So that's what we're going to talk about next. So I'm going to go back to my drive. So move. I close out all these extra tabs. So now I'm going to make a new Oh no, I don't see Google Forms. So I'm going to hover on more, Google Forms. So you got a whole bunch of stuff here. Pear Deck's awesome. It's a great add-on for slides, extension for slides. So you might want to check it out. I haven't played with it too much, but from what I've seen, it's pretty useful. You make it much more interactive. If you want to, let's say, use your Google Slides for your actual lesson, Pear Deck's a great way to put some interaction in there. But for now, we're going to talk about Google Forms. So you're going to make a new Google form. We're going to title it Quiz 42. And then it changes the title. Let's start by making this form a quiz. So right now it's just a form. So you've probably answered things in forms before without even realizing it. And you could resubmit things, but that's not what we want. We want to make a quiz. We're going to go up here to our gear icon. And the first thing I'm going to do is click on quizzes and make it a quiz. This automatically changes a whole bunch of stuff and makes it more quizish. Release grade later. Just do it later. You're going to have to go back and go through everybody's problems, make sure they just weren't idiots and type something wrong, because it is very specific. So if you need red as the answer and they put RE80 instead of RED, then it's going to mark it wrong. Respondents can see, so I had to scroll down here, uncheck all of these. Don't let them see anything. If you have those checked, you could have one kid take the quiz and sacrifice himself for all their friends. Don't do it. Uncheck those, and then there's no escape from that. Lock mode on Chromebooks, I'd say don't do it. It's going to be more trouble than it's worth, and kids have their phones if they're at home. It's going to be very, very impossible to monitor cheating. Locked mode's not going to help. For math, if you want the kids to actually upload images of their problems, lock mode's going to be a hindrance more than a help. Okay. We don't want to show links. Well, let's go to general first. Collect email addresses, just keep it checked. Response receipts, don't worry about it. Restrict use to Allen Parish School Board, and you're not going to give a quiz to anybody outside the domain, so don't bother. Limit to one response. That way they can't go back and change their answers after Cullen answers all the questions correctly. Respondents can edit after submit? No, it's a quiz. See summary charts and text responses? No, leave them unchecked. Presentation? It might be tempting to shuffle question order. Don't do it. The reason being, it doesn't view each problem as a question, it views each thing as a question. So let's say you have an image that you have to have an answer about. Well, if you shuffle questions, that image can get shuffled around too, so you'll be asking questions about an image that they're not even seeing. So don't shuffle questions. It's not that great. Don't do it. Now, after I've changed all these settings, make sure all these are unchecked, make that later, make it a quiz, limit to one response, unclick save. Now I have a blank quiz. And usually actually what I do is I just copy an old quiz and change things. My very first question is always the same. Now, pay close attention right here. See how it changed to short answer? Google is kind of smart and sometimes very stupid. So it automatically changed to short answer because it's like, oh, first name, well, that needs to be a short answer. Short answer text, there's no requirements here, so that's good. That's my first question. Make it required. If you make it a question required, the students cannot skip it. Now, this is going to be my first page in my quiz. So I'm going to add another question. I'm going to click this little plus sign. Last name. Again, change to short answer. required. And then my third question is always hour. And I actually use a drop down for this. First, fifth, whatever. I'm not going to have all my hours because obviously if it's a geometry quiz, I don't have geometry first hour or whatever, so I'm not going to put that as an option. So just how many ever sections you teach, you can put as a drop down. You can have them fill in the blank too, but I like having a drop down menu because sometimes kids forget what hour they're in. And again, make all these required. Now let me show you how sometimes, this is not an actual question I'm going to make, sometimes Google Forms is a little stupid. Is 2 plus 2 a statistical question? Let's see. Okay, didn't do it on that one. Let's see. Okay. Let's say you had a, so this is a problem my wife had. She had determined whether the following are statistical questions or not. 2 plus 2. The correct answer would either be yes or no. However, Google saw 2 plus 2 and was like, oh, hey, I know that that has to be a number answer. So it has a response validation added. It has to be a number. If you try and type anything other than a number, it's going to be like, wrong, you can't type that. It's not going to let them answer the question. So she was racking her brain on why can't my students answer this quiz, and it's because Google automatically put this response validation on there. So make sure you check and make sure it's either relevant to you or it's removed. So this is my first page, always. I like to have each question on its own page, nice and fresh. So to do that, you put a section between them. And you have options here. You can go to a particular section or continue section. Just continue to next section each time. And I usually just erase the title. It's optional. After that, I add my question. So let's see. Let's actually play with the response validation. Javier is building a skateboard ramp. It's 2 meters long and 3 meters high. How many meters of, let's see, the ramp itself. How many meters long is the ramp itself? So this would be a basic right triangle problem, right? So response validation number is a number. I actually want that because whenever we're doing our answer key, actually let's make this 4 to make my answer easier. So whenever I do my answer key, I can have, this is the right answer, this is not the right answer. Response validation, number is a number. So your options are, it has to be text, it has to be a certain length, or regular expression. Not sure what that means. Okay, that's too fancy. Don't worry about that. So it's either a number or it's a word, greater than. So, it has to be a positive number. So if for some reason they use the quadratic formula on this thing and they get the negative answer, you could say it's got to be greater than 0. Or you just put is a number. And what I'd probably do on this particular problem is don't include units. So if they typed, let's say, 5 square meters, or 5 meters or something, it would be like response validation error, don't include units. And then for my answer key, I can put the number 5 and mark all other answers incorrect. That way, it's telling me, okay, there's nothing else they could put in that would be right. If they don't put 5, it's wrong. Now, if they put 5.0 for some reason, I guess I could go back and look at that, but for the most part, this is going to cover me. change the points. I usually have each question worth 1 point. You can weight questions differently here. Up to you. I don't do feedback. You can if you want to. But this is my answer key for this particular problem. The correct answer is 5. Everything else is wrong. I mean, if they put 5 meters, I'd mark that correct, except I told them they can't put meters. So all they can do is put the numbers. So that's the only correct number. Let's see. Oh, whole number. Don't include, well, no, I wouldn't want that because then they might mess up and I want them to get it wrong if they mess up. Don't include units. So let's say they put 4 squared plus x squared equals 3 squared or something, and then they just get some imaginary answer. That would tell me, oh, hey, they have no idea what they're doing with the Pythagorean theorem. And of course, we want to make all of our questions required, unless for some reason you don't want them to answer a question on your quiz. Let's go over the options here. So I just made a text question. So the correct answer is 5, blah, 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 blah. Okay, basic, short answer. Let's make another question. So again, every time I make a new question, I'm going to put it in a new section. I'm going to add, this time, let's say I want a picture. So I'm going to go to my handy dandy Active Inspire, and I'm going to draw a skateboard ramp. That's about right. There we go. Okay. 12. 8. Okay, and let's say, I guess we make a little stick figure. So this is a skateboard. Don't you love my artistic work? So let's say I want to put that image in here. Snipping tool for Windows people, screenshot it somehow. So just get your image, wherever, however you need to get your image, get it. And then we're going to add an image. So actually, I don't want my question to be the image. I want to add a separate image. So I'm going to click over here, add an image. Browse, and of course, go to my desktop. Desktop. There we go. There's my image. It's in there. Image title is optional. I don't put them. But I do want to put it above the question. So I'm going to see these little 6 dots right here. I'm going to grab that and drag it up. So now this image is on top of the question. Determine the angle Javier's, well, Billy Bob this time, ramp makes with the ground. And, you know, we have different choices. So this time, let's say it's a multiple choice answer. Sure, why not? So, option 1, 10 degrees. So, let's see. I don't think, nope, that's not. So that's the title and description. I don't want that. Yeah, so for the answer choices, I can't put a degree symbol. What can I do? Go back to Active Inspire. 10. Oh, I get my way. And then I have my degree symbol there. And off the top of my head, I don't know what the correct answer is. Come on with it. Pop up. So let's say our first answer. Oh, there it goes. So it was, let's see, it was, where am I? Here I am. 8, 12, okay. So tangent inverse of A over 12. So the answer is going to be 33.7 degrees, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Not for this purpose anyway. But let's say I had 10 degrees, 100 degrees, 34 degrees. And you can have as many answer choices as you want. And 42 degrees. You could have the whole image as one thing with this ramp and everything, and just have them labeled as A, B, C, D. I did that sometimes. Or you could have each option as its own image. So you still have to put a letter, so you have to type something. But with each letter, you can add the actual picture you wanted. So just browse and upload, browse and upload. And if anybody chooses 100 degrees, you should definitely slap them in the face with a wet sloppy fish, since we already know it's a right angle there at the corner. And if we look at the answer key choice here, it's 34 degrees. You could have multiple correct answers. We don't in this case. Now the default points is 0. Make sure you change that. And done. Again, it's required. So now we have 2 questions in this, plus our first part. Let's look and see what this looks like. Here's the preview button right here. It's that little eyeball. First name, Anthony. Swallow. Sure, 5th hour, why not? Or first. Next. I don't know, 42. Hey, look at that. It's like he's writing a pickle. 10. And you click submit. Your response has been recorded. Usually, actually, what I do is I have a separate page for submit. So let me do that right now. So usually my last section is submit, submit. Make sure you are done. So now if I try and preview again, it's probably not going to let me because I have already filled it out once. So to fix that, I'm going to go to my responses tab. My face is always in the way. Notice it has 1 response. That's me. 0 out of 2 points. You can go by summary or individual. It tells you what each person did. You can navigate through them here. This is what I usually do whenever I'm grading things. I go person by person and see, okay, yeah, they just typed wrong things. And you're like, oh, wow, give this guy another chance. He just doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe you can try again. Delete that response, and it's gone. So now if I go back to preview it, and if I try, oh, no, I can't type letters. Don't include units, 42. 100. Next. Submit. Make sure you're done. And it's like, oh, wait, oh, that's the back. Let me go check my answers. Oh, I should pick that one instead. And this is actually 5. And then I can go next, next. And you can navigate through the quiz. Submit, whatever. I'm not going to submit. Actually, I should have, so I could show you something else, but that's okay. So I usually have submit as my last section so that they can get another chance to not just mindlessly click the next button and be like, oops, I submitted my quiz. Let's say I need another section, but I need it ahead of it. So I'm just going to move it around. let's see. Move. So we can move sections through this little tab right here, Untitled Section, Save. Delete that. Let's see what other kind of questions we have. Add check boxes. So it's if you need a multi-select, this is what you use checkboxes for. Okay, multiple choice grid and checkbox grid. This is, when did I use this? If you need to line things up, like let's say Sally has the blue dress on or something, I don't know. You're doing some kind of puzzle like that or whatever. You could do a multiple choice grid or a checkbox grid. They're basically the same. You know, just checkbox can have the same thing multiple times. Date. Maybe if you have what's your birthday, you can have the date, I don't know. Or time. I don't know why you want those. File upload. Math teachers, this is for you. If you need to see their work, you can do a file upload. So you can say submit all Scratch work for partial credit. I've never actually done this. Let's see how it works. So Scratch work. Maximum number of files, I definitely want to change that. Sure, 10, why not? That sounds good. Can I go more? No, okay. See, I have to have multiple of these if you have more than 10 problems. Maximum file size, 10 megabytes is kind of small. Let's go 100 megabytes. Shouldn't be more than that. Oh, we need to change this for sure. Yeah, sure, why not? So this, just 10 gigabytes should be more than enough for a single quiz. But this is how big all of the files put together can be. So I'm going to trip that to 10 gigabytes. That should be enough forever. I mean, you could even go do a gigabyte here, but I don't think 100 megabytes is going to be filled up. And you can even not require it. Partial credit. Hey, if they don't want to get partial credit, don't make them show work. Or if you want to make sure they're not cheating, have it required. And I'm very curious, actually. Let's see this. Yada, yada, yada. Don't really care. And if they do something like this, you can still know who it is because it collects their email address automatically. This is just very convenient for filters, which I'll show you in a minute. Scratch work. Add a file. So let's say I'm working this problem. Let's see. Hey, my face is too big now. Oh well. So let's say they do tangent inverse of, and they mess up. They're looking at, they mark this angle, but they actually do 12/8. I'd probably give them half credit on that. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. 8/12. But then they're, okay, now this I would give them full credit for. Let's say their calculator is actually in radian mode. They do that, they give me 0.6. So obviously that would be wrong if you had any common sense, but we're talking about students here. So they say 0.6, and then they take a screenshot of their work, or they take a picture with their phone of their paper and pencil work. Okay. I'm going to add a file. Select a file from my device. They, again, have to take a screenshot. You know, they can hold up the piece of paper in front of their webcam and take a screenshot with it. They've all got Chromebooks. Let's upload it. Let's see what happens. I've never done this before. I'm very curious myself. Okay, it's saved as a PDF or drawing. PNG, okay. Next, and let's submit it. Okay. Response has been recorded. Let me go to my responses. So I'm going to go to individual, this DD person. They're wrong. They're wrong. Oh, let's see what they did. Okay. What did this person do? Oh, look, they're in radian mode. Okay, I got you. Okay, I can give them partial credit for that one. Now, another thing I'm curious about is usually when I'm grading these things, I'm going to click this little button right here, create a spreadsheet. Because I usually have 20 or so kiddos to work with, and spreadsheets are just very handy at organizing things. Okay, so they have a link to the scratch work. That's handy. So this is based on their names, what they actually type in. Obviously, it's not correct for this one. That Anthony Swalfish doesn't know what he's doing. But I like to use filters. Filters are awesome. So usually I'll filter by first name or last name. An hour. If I click that button, I can arrange them. So let's say I have other, wow, that's not going to be useful. Other things in there. And I click sort A to Z. That didn't work because I didn't have things. I can't show you an actual one because of the whole FERPA thing. This is annoying. No FERPA for teachers. Sorry, teachers. No idea what I called that. Pausing it, bear with me a few minutes. I've got to go find something. All right, I'm back. So I found this one. This is the Google Classroom PD sign-up sheet I had you fill out or not. So sorry, all you people are now exposed. You now have your email addresses on the internet. Oh wait, they already were. So if I go to my Google Sheet here, so one handy thing, you can sort by name. So for some reason, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight these, put some filters on there. All you have to do is click the filter button. And let's say for some reason you need to sort their last names. Oh, let me get rid of this extra stuff. Now should work. Now it works. Okay. So it's actually much handier if you're using a class because you can sort it by last name and then by hour, and you can just type in the grade straight to webpans from there. They made 7 out of 10. Good to go. I liked this one because I could see, oh, okay, so these people are coming on the 18th. These people are coming on the 9th. The way I formatted it wasn't exactly the greatest for this, but it helped. And then, to invite them to the Google Classrooms, I was like, okay, these people are here today. I'm going to highlight them, copy paste their names into the students, whatever. So whenever you're grading things, Google Sheets is awesome. So you'll have this, and you can say, okay, well, let me go back. He actually did earn half a point for here, so I'm going to change this to 0.5. I wonder if I can do decimals. Save. Now I'm very curious, did this update yet? It did. There we go. See, it changed it to 0.5 out of 2. So I gave him half credit for that, so it's in there. All right. So the whole problem with the filters is they got to include everything, apparently. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to do anything because there was only one thing there, but yeah, we can use it now. So that's a filter. That's great for putting grades in the gradebook. Google Sheets combined with your forms is awesome. There are some add-ons, but they're out of date. I'm not even gonna go over those. So now this is my quiz. What I'm gonna do with it? Absolutely nothing right here. Gotta go to classwork. Way back to classwork. I clear that out. New assignment. Quiz. From Google Drive. Quiz 42. Insert. And you can change locked mode here. Don't do it. If you do locked mode, it's going to make it nearly impossible for students to submit their work. Just don't do it. Grade importing. Okay, so yeah, leave it alone. It doesn't matter. That's going to say, okay, this guy got 7 out of 10 right or whatever. Again, don't turn on the overall grading on, and you should be fine. So then you just assign it like anything else. Get out of there. Let's look at this grades tab. We are not going to use it. I don't have any students, so I can't use it. Let me see something that does have students that aren't. Aha, not real students, I hope. So it would look something like this, but again, we don't want anything, and I have to take this out, dang it. Okay, edit out. So yeah, I can't show you that either because I had somebody log in as a student, so whatever. But grades, just don't worry about it. Should be mostly blank. It's not going to have the students' overall grades because it's not linked to webcams. So anything you don't do in Google Classroom won't be there. So I think that's it. We've got a slides assignment and a quiz. Yeah. Okay, let's just mention some nice add-ons. This is some fancy stuff over here. We're not going to worry about that. If you have questions about it, you can ask me. Google Meet extensions. Okay. We got to talk to our kids with Google Meet, right? Some of us have more than 16 kids in a class. If we need to see more than 16 kids in a class, we have to use this extension called Grid View, because by default, Google Meet only has 16 slots available. Nod. If you want emojis, but the text would have to push out. Don't worry about it. Nod's useless. Take attendance seems useful, Meet attendance, but I haven't gotten it to work properly. Dual list, check it out. It lets you split your screen and merge it back for all of Chrome. It's actually very helpful. So it's a screen splitter. You can, let me show you. So if I have, let me just drag out a window. If I have 2 windows, let's say, and I want them about 50-50, I could do it manually and estimate, and I'd say that's about right. So now I'd have 2 screens I could work with. Duelist does it for you automatically, and it has ratios, 3-7, 4-6, 5-5 ratios, or vice versa. So it splits your screen and merges them back for you, because now I can kind of do that, but let's see, yeah, that works. Okay. So it's very helpful. Oops. There we go. So Duelist is cool. Check it out. YouTube's your friend. Use YouTube if you want to learn about stuff. YouTube and Google, that's how I learned everything. Drive slides. That's what I needed to tell you, Miss Sortino, if you're watching this. Drive slides. I forgot why, but you're trying to do something, and Drive slides would have been perfect for you. What it does is it takes all the pictures you have in a folder in Google Drive and puts them into a Google slide on each individual page. So that was useful for you for some reason. I forgot why, but Drive slides. Group Maker, and it's random group generator thing. Pocket, kind of like bookmarks with whatever. Screencastify sucks. Don't use it. Use Nimbus instead. You got to use something. Share the classroom. That lets you automatically put something into the classroom. I haven't played with it too much, but I think I will. Pear Deck, that's specifically for Google Slides, makes it much more interactive. I'd advise watching someone else talk about Pear Deck. It's pretty cool. It's got some good stuff on it. You English teachers might want to use Gubrick plus Doctopus. It does some cool stuff with your grading. It puts a nice rubric up top for the kids to follow, and it also has it up there for you to read and enter your information. Pull the paragraph. I don't know. It might be used for English teachers too. It takes all the students' paragraphs from a particular document. Let's say you had 20 students, then it takes all 20 of their paragraphs and puts it in a Google Sheet, and you can just click on it and read it there in one spot instead of going to each individual sheet, each individual doc. Calendar. I'm not going to mention calendar. Calendar's a calendar. Some people like it. I don't. I believe that is everything. But again, I have a terrible memory. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask or post in the comments, and I can try and figure something out for you. Yeah, let me know. See ya.